Hello YouTube, this is Tim MacKenzie, staff writer for Project COE, and I'm here today to bring you my very first video review for the website, focusing on the new Square Enix IP on the DS, The World Ends With You. Now, The World Ends With You has gotten quite a bit of hype as a creative and stylish DS RPG, and if you're one of those who believe that, well, you'd be absolutely correct. It goes without saying that Square Enix did a fantastic job on this game in nearly all areas. It has great music, slick visuals, an awesome story, and clever gameplay mechanics. Fans of RPGs simply have to check this one out. There's no question about it. Even more casual fans should look into it just because it rocks. Of course, the unconvinced may need some more information to go on, so let's press on. Obviously, the story is one of the biggest drawing points. This is a Square Enix title after all. If anything, The World Ends With You is comparable to the anime game series .hack. The story is about a game. However, there are huge differences. I won't spoil too much, but basically, it's a fantasy game set in modern-day Tokyo, specifically in the Shibuya shopping district. The main character, the antisocial Neku, gets caught up in a weird life-or-death struggle known as the Reaper's Game. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another angsty teenage character from Square Enix? Well, that's pretty typical. Well, you know, if you stick through it, Neku actually, he develops exceptionally well and turns out to be a pretty likable character. But anyway, the Reaper's Game is a contest comprising of 7 days, and each day there's a new challenge for Neku and his partner to complete. With each challenge comes new insights into the characters, new plot developments, and unique twists. It's obvious that the writing team did a fantastic job of keeping the pace, and they crafted an interesting story overall. The only problem that I see with the plot comes from the dialogue. To be fair, this problem may stem from the game's localization, but anyway, the characters use lots of modern slang in their speech. It works well most of the time, and helps add to the fact it's set in modern day, but sometimes the lines are just kind of cheesy, and don't really work that well, especially when Neku comments that someone was full of fail, and a lot of Beats lines are kind of annoying. But anyway, moving on. Even though the story is bizarre and interesting, it doesn't begin to compare how off-the-wall the gameplay setup is. First and foremost, the battle system is just nuts. The player not only controls Neku, but a partner character at the same time. Neku is controlled entirely with the stylus, and his attacks are utilized by slashing, sliding, pressing, drawing, circles, etc. The partner character, on the other hand, is controlled with the D-pad or face buttons. It is a bit of a sensory overload at first because of all the attacks and flashy colors and enemies. But after a bit of playtime and getting used to the learning curve, it becomes much more manageable. And once that's out of the way, it becomes easier to rack up combos and perform super attacks, and you get more items and experience. Thankfully, newer players can set the partner character on automatic if need be, and also the difficulty can be changed anytime in the game menu. Now, there are many other systems to speak of as well, but it's obvious that the gameplay's biggest drawing point is the fighting, and in that respect, it exceeds exceptionally well. It's fast, it's intuitive, it's really hectic. The only downside to it is sometimes it's a little too hectic, and it's hard to tell what's going on, especially if you're going multiple fights. But it's a great thing still. Now, some of the other important parts come from shopping. Now, the player can go out and buy pins, clothes, and food, etc. Pins are what gives Neku his attacks. Basically, you can buy them as different brands. Pins can be leveled up in fights, they can also evolve and turn into forms, and they can even be used in minigames, which is pretty cool. And clothes are also just sort of like armor in any other RPG. But in this game, the brand names are a really big deal. There's many different stores which sell these different brands, and in the different areas in Shibuya, there are different trends, and these trends govern which brands are popular or not. And by wearing a popular brand, it'll get a bonus in a certain area. And conversely, you get penalties in other areas if a brand isn't popular. But it's also neat because the player can actually alter trends by wearing certain clothes in battle often. And food is also a really interesting concept in this game, because the player can go into different food stands around Shibuya, and but besides having the character actually eat and digest the food, it gives them permanent stat increases, and the brand mechanics also apply to the food, which is pretty crazy. But it makes the world ends with you stand out that much more, and it's just an awesome idea. Now, besides this, the main problem with the gameplay probably stems from the fact it's pretty linear. Outside of battle, you just have to go from point A to point B, and there's not too much exploration involved. Everything's pretty straightforward. Sometimes you'll have to do little quests for these Reapers in order to pass. Usually it's just getting an item or beating an enemy or answering a quiz, which is a little annoying after a while, but you know, it works most of the time. Anyway, now moving on to the visuals. The World That Ends With You is perhaps the best looking 2D game on the DS. It has a very strong artistic presentation to it. It just looks great. There's a whole lot of vibrant color to it, and the art style is really cool. It's sort of like if you merged Kingdom Hearts with Jet Grind Radio, if you know what I mean there. It is outshined by some more of the 3D powerhouses on the DS, sort of like Phantom Hourglass or Ring of Fates or Ninja Gaiden. But the team still did a great job of just making a game that just looks really pretty. It has a strong presentation. And the audio also works really well. It has a very strong soundtrack with a lot of good themes. Now, it does fit with its setting in modern-day Tokyo, so there's a lot of J-rock and J-pop and a lot of vocals. So some players might not be into that, but still, you have to admit, it works very well, and the sound quality is great. And, you know, sound effects are great, too. There isn't really any voice work to speak of. That's really kept minimal, with all, like, grunts and yells. And there is some, like, commentary characters that have, like, in battle, like when they have, like, taunts or stuff, but, you know, it works out pretty well. And overall, the World Ends With You just is a great package. It has lots of elements that come together. It has its, you know, very unique gameplay combined with a really, you know, interesting and bizarre story, and it has all these other elements, you know, strong audio and visual presentations. And besides that, the players can carry their game data over and replay the game. They can also access chapters after they've beaten the game and reveal more of the story. And it just seems like that the developers really try to squeeze out as much time as they could in this game. And you could spend, you know, hours and hours just playing through the main game, and then you could realize, oh, I can play it again. There's more stuff. So that's really cool. And there are some other features to speak of extraneously, but the main thing to focus on is just, you know, how creative these main parts of the World Ends With You really are. And we at COE have awarded this game a gold medal award, and it scored it a 9 out of 10. Well, technically a 9.3 out of 10. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video review, tune in next time, and we'll bring you some more.